Welcome to this edition of LUTV News. I'm Brittany Velasco. 300,000 children in the United States are at risk for human trafficking. St. Louis ranked as one of the top 20 cities as a center for sex trafficking. Who says Mardi Gras celebrations are only for people? Sunday marked the 21st annual Beggin' Strips Pet Parade in Soulard. Hundreds of pet owners walked in the parade with their dogs dressed in costume. Student loan debt has tripled over 3 times in the last decade, up to over $1 trillion. Lawmakers are scrambling to find ways to fix this issue. The Affordable Health Care Act, or is most known as Obamacare, generated a lot of visits on the first day and also a lot of glitches. The Washington Post reported that one California man waited 3.5 hours to register for the benefits. But what exactly is in the new policy, and why should not only Missourians, but Americans as a whole consider checking their rates and applying? Michael Johnson, also known as Tiger, knowingly spread HIV to 5 unsuspecting victims. The number may rise after police discovered 32 videos of Johnson and other males engaging in unprotected sexual activity. Wasn't supposed to live past the age of 6. Today, he is 23 years old and healthy. St. Louis native Brian Jackson was in the hospital for asthma attacks when the unthinkable happened. His father, a blood transfusion specialist, injected Jackson with the HIV-positive blood to avoid paying child support. Jackson was only 11 months old at the time. His life had many obstacles, but today he's found peace.
He has not tried to contact me, nor has his family tried to contact me, and I'm completely okay with that.
When Brian Jackson was 5 years old, he became very sick. The doctors tested him for every disease, rare and common, but they could not figure out what was wrong. Brian's mother, Jennifer Jackson, thought it could be AIDS. His father spoke to others about not having to pay child support and being able to kill his son without anyone expecting it was him. The doctors called Jennifer one evening and tested Brian for AIDS. The test came back positive.
When you know that at that point in time, when you hear the word AIDS, people died.
The story made national news, but it took years before the family decided to show their faces. During that time, Brian was bullied for having AIDS. Parents were scared to let their children be around him. At that time, Brian was far from forgiving his father, and he changed the spelling of his name to separate himself from him.
It made me feel very angry, especially because I was being discriminated against. I was left out of social events. I wasn't, having a normal childhood.
Brian's mother dealt with depression because she was a single mother caring for not only Brian, but his siblings too.
I was needing to prepare myself for the fact that my son was going to die.
The disease affected the entire family. His siblings were also bullied by their peers and their parents.
His parents figured out that my older brother had HIV and AIDS, so they stopped letting me out their kid.
Both Brian and his mother share the same message of hope that helped them get through the rough patches.
No matter where you are in life, no matter where your walk has been, that there is always hope.
I'm a true believer that suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not fail. When
he was a little boy, Brian took 20 pills a day, 2 injections, and more. Some of the medicine left him partially hard of hearing in both ears. Now he's on 1 pill a day, and doctors can no longer detect the disease in his bloodstream. His father was charged with life in prison with the possibility of parole. Monday, I'll tell you more about Brian's path to forgiveness and how he's teaching others. For LUTV News, I'm Brittany Velasco. Classics like Cinderella, Snow White, and Hansel and Gretel are played by Lindenwood University students. The audience, old and young, enjoy seeing their favorite stories told in a non-traditional way.
What have I been to you? What would you have me be?
The student-run production of Into the Woods is not your typical light-hearted fairy tale. The Brothers Grimm versions of these well-known stories included death and amputation. Musical director for Into the Woods, Pamela Grooms, said this musical took a lot of work to get ready.
one of the toughest musicals we've done here at Lindenwood, and in the shortest time. We had 7 weeks to prepare this, and other schools will take 9 to 11 weeks to prepare something like this.
For this show specifically, the writer added 2 new characters, the baker and the baker's wife. The first act followed the familiar storylines for each character. The second act changed the typical happy endings, but the Wednesday audience still enjoyed both.
It does kind of bring back the memories, the children's book, but the second act, it kind of brings out more of the humor into them, so I really recommend it.
Mallory Carney, who plays Disney favorite Cinderella, likes that she isn't the usual Cinderella most know.
I just love that she's really down to earth, and she just really wants to help people and isn't, I mean, I still talk to birds, but she's not what you think, and so I like that she's kind of surprising.
The common theme for this show is watch what you say to children.
It's a warning in a nicer sense of like, we've had issues, so watch us learn from our mistakes so that you don't have to have those mistakes.
More performances of Into the Woods will take place at Lindenwood's J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts and the Bezemus Family Theater. Performances are held at 7:30 p.m. on February 20th and 21st and a matinee at 2 p.m. on February 22nd. State utility regulators will hear 2 cases against Ameren, Missouri. A company called Noranda Aluminum in southeast Missouri has filed 2 complaints. Noranda's main complaint is Ameren charging more than its standard rates. The other complaint accuses Ameren of earning more than it's authorized to. The first hearing is scheduled for June 4th. The decisions for the 2 complaints will take up to 2 months. 31-year-old St. Louis priest has been accused of sexual abuse. Reverend Joseph Zhang is charged with 2 counts of first-degree statutory sodomy and accused of sexually abusing a male student. Zhang was released on bail Friday after a supporter posted a $150,000 bond. The Archdiocese of St. Louis suspended Zhang from his duties while the case is pending. Looking for a ride in St. Louis? There's an app for that. Lyft is a ride-sharing service in St. Louis that lets users look for Lyft members who offer rides. Drivers who offer rides dress their cars' front grills with large pink mustaches and are separate from taxi services. There is no set payment on Lyft rides, but donations are encouraged, which is causing friction with taxi companies. Lyft is ignoring a cease and desist order from the city's taxi commission. That's it for this edition of LUTV News. I'm Brittany Velasco.